Welcome to Comics Bazaar, the channel of comics commentary and arcana. This video features The Uncanny X-Men number 171, cover dated July 1983, and this issue cost 60 cents at the time. So the cover here is by Walter Simonson, who is the guest artist responsible for the interiors. And the cover features the caption, "Welcome to the X-Men Rogue, hope you survive the experience." And Rogue running from the attacking X-Men, the members of the team at that time. So let's open this one up to the splash page. An excellent evocative splash page here by Walter Simonson of Storm, who in previous issues fought a duel with Callisto, the leader of the Morlocks, and she knifed her through the heart, but Callisto survived due to the power of one of the Morlocks to heal her. And Storm here has taken off her normal cloak and is wearing Callisto's leather jacket as a symbol of the fact that she now is the leader of the Morlocks. So the creative team here is writer Chris Claremont, Simonson, guest penciler, Bob Wiacek, finisher, which means that Wiacek is doing more than a normal inker's job. He's responsible for, likely responsible for backgrounds and certain details that Simonson isn't adding in his pencils or doesn't have the time to. This could be, since it's a fill-in art job, filling in for the regular artist Paul Smith, this may have been turned around in a short amount of time. So let's move on. So what's happening here is that as new leader of the Morlocks, Storm is demanding that they no longer attack surface people, kidnap their children, or kill them. And Callisto here has gotten up from her sickbed, confronts Storm, but she's too weak to take Storm on again, and Storm carries her back to bed. Nightcrawler is in the background there, and he's worried about Storm because Storm previously was something of a pacifist, certainly someone who would never kill, and the stab to the heart indicates that her intention was to kill Callisto, so Nightcrawler's worried about that. Then the scene switches to Anchorage, Alaska, and the first panel there is of a fire in a hearth or grate. And interestingly, if you look closely, the way the flames are drawn, they evoke the Phoenix and the Phoenix Force. So this is not Jean Grey. Jean Grey died, of course, at the end of the seminal and famous Uncanny X-Men 137. But this is Madelyne Pryor, who bears an uncanny resemblance to Jean Grey, and who is now Scott Summers' girlfriend. So in this scene, she wakes up from a nightmare and tells Scott that she was remembering her last flight. As a commercial pilot, she flew a 747 into San Francisco, but it crash landed. Everybody died except for her, and she wasn't scratched at all. And the date of this incident was September 1st, 1980. And Scott is shocked and thinks to himself, but that's the day Jean Grey died. So who exactly is Madelyne Pryor is a mystery that Claremont is exploring over the years leading up to Revelations in the Inferno crossover storyline. So then we have a domestic scene with Carol Danvers here. This is Carol Danvers visiting her parents in Beverly, Massachusetts. And Carol now, since Uncanny X-Men 164, has another identity, no longer Ms. Marvel, but rather binary. She came into that identity in a series of issues in which the X-Men were attacked by the Brood. So then the scene shifts to the X-Mansion, and Kitty Pryde is throwing a bit of a strop because she can't find her computer discs. but then they turn up. Then the scene shifts to Professor X, who's in a new body. Again, this is after the business with the Brood. So his mind and psyche is in a new body, which is perfect in the sense that he shouldn't be paralyzed in this new body, but for some strange psychological reason, he is. So he is going through a series of rehabilitation exercises, and this is Lilandra, who is formerly the magistrix of the Shi'ar Empire, but has come to Earth as Xavier's love. And then we have a little scene with Colossus pondering how to make quiche Lorraine, and Xavier tells him there's someone at the door, so he goes to the door, and who is it except Rogue? So Rogue at this point was a member of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, going back to her introduction, her first appearance in Marvel Comics in Avengers Annual number 10. There is a video about that annual on the channel, so please do take a look at that. And what does Rogue want with the X-Men? Well, she's looking to speak to Professor X in particular, and she's looking for his help because the permanent absorption of Carol Danvers' powers wasn't just the powers that were absorbed, but Carol's psyche. And Rogue is going crazy with Carol's psyche battling her own in her head. So she's looking for help from Professor X, and she's going against Mystique's wishes in that regard. The X-Men aren't happy at all that Rogue is there, and they're very suspicious of her, but Professor X wants to hear her out and wants a private meeting with her, just him, Lilandra, and Rogue. So the X-Men leave. They're very unhappy. They decide to work out the tension by a Danger Room session. Illyana has programmed the session, and shockingly, the session involves this character, Belasco, who is a other dimensional demon lord, and who held Illyana captive in his realm for what were years for her before she was rescued by the X-Men. She's taken aback by this. She wasn't expecting this herself, and Kitty is shocked too. In the control booth, she shuts down the program, and Illyana draws a demon sword, which Kitty's never seen before. And even though Kitty's phasing, the sword somehow manages to injure Kitty and cut her cheek. But Illyana snaps too, and she reveals that now, previously not having any memory of what went on in Belasco's realm, she remembers now. And Kitty says to the X-Men, to give Illyana some space, that everything is going to be all right. So then we have a little scene with Ororo in her room, and she's watering her plants there, but she's upset about many things, in particular maybe the business with Callisto, and also her role with the X-Men. She feels she's changing from the person she once was, and she wishes that she could go back to Africa and be worshipped as a goddess there, but it's not possible. So she's angry with Professor X as well. He summons her and the other X-Men to the living room, or the library rather, where he's going to give his decision about Rogue. And so he tells them that he wants Rogue to be admitted to the school, but also to the X-Men as a probationary member. Now Ororo is very unhappy with that. She says, as leader of the X-Men, she forbids it. But interrupting all of this is the arrival of Binary, aka Carol Danvers, who clearly punches Rogue into the upper atmosphere. Fantastic half splash here by Walter Simonson, known for his dynamic poses and penciling. So Rogue comes back down. She doesn't recognize Binary, of course, and goes in for the attack, but Binary is way too powerful, and Rogue is confused about who this person is and why she's mad at her. What are you talking about? What's my life got to do with you? We never even met before today. And then Carol reveals her human face, and then Rogue gets it. So Carol wants an explanation from the X-Men about what Rogue is doing there, and Professor X gives one of his big speeches about why Rogue should be allowed to join the X-Men. And he refers to Wolverine as an example. Wolverine, when he first joined the X-Men, had a violent nature, but he had potential to become good, and his time with the X-Men developed that potential. And Professor X thinks that same can be done for Rogue or any mutant at all. So he asks Carol her opinion, and she responds, "What do you want from me, Charles? Understanding, approval? I'll concede one, but not the other. Rogue tore my life, my very soul to shreds, and those scales can never be balanced. I'm sorry, I'm just not that forgiving." And so she leaves. So just as at the end of Avengers Annual 10, Carol decided to not rejoin the Avengers, now she's deciding to leave the X-Men. So what becomes of her next is a big question. So Rogue is accepted by the other X-Men, not Ororo, who's pondering the whole business and who thinks, "I want to leave, yet duty demands I stay. Though that means accepting Rogue. Whatever I choose, I will no longer be the woman I was, but what will I become? Ororo, a storm? Which is it to be?" So this emotionally tense and perturbed ending to the issue, Rogue's joining the X-Men for the first time. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like the video, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more content like this.